New research from Shelter shows at least 308,000 people are recorded as homeless in England, including 123,000 children. And the number of people living in temporary accommodation has risen by an alarming 74% in the last 10 years. Homelessness is not evenly distributed across the UK. Some areas have much higher rates of homelessness than others. So, where is homelessness the worst in the UK? London is the worst affected area. According to the Combined Homelessness and Information Network, (CHAIN), 23,325 people were spotted sleeping rough in London between April 2022 and June 2023. This represents a 21% increase from the previous year. However, this number is likely to be an underestimate, as it does not include people who are hidden homeless, such as those staying with friends or family on a temporary basis. Shelter estimates that there are over 308,000 people homeless in England, with over half of these in London. The number of homeless people in London has been rising steadily in recent years. This is due to a number of factors, including the high cost of housing in London, welfare cuts, domestic violence, mental health problems. Within London, the boroughs with the highest rates of homelessness are Westminster, Newham, and Haringey. These boroughs are all home to large numbers of low-income households and have a limited supply of affordable housing. Homelessness in South England. As of September 2023, there are an estimated 24,140 people homeless in South England. This includes people sleeping rough, living in temporary accommodation, and staying in hostels or supported accommodation. The number of homeless people in South England has been rising in recent years, due to a number of factors including the rising cost of living, a lack of affordable housing, and cuts to welfare benefits. In contrast, many of the areas with the highest levels of homelessness are seaside towns on the south coast. Why? Because these places have warmer weather and plenty of tourists to keep them busy through the winter months, both factors that make them attractive to homeless people looking for a place where it's easy to blend in. Brighton, for example, has always had a reputation for being one of the most welcoming places for the homeless community. Homelessness in Scotland. Homelessness is a serious social issue in Scotland, with over 36,000 households assessed as homeless or threatened with homelessness in 2022-23. This is a 10% increase from the previous year, and means that every 16 minutes a household in Scotland becomes homeless. The most recent English housing survey showed that there were 1.15 million households in England living in temporary accommodation, including hostels and B&Bs. Homelessness in Wales. In Wales, the number of people experiencing homelessness has been increasing. In 2021-22, there were an estimated 84.9 households assessed as homeless per 10,000 households in Wales. This is a decrease from the previous year, but it is still higher than the pre-pandemic level. The Welsh Government has a number of policies and initiatives in place to address homelessness. These include the Ending Homelessness Action Plan. This plan sets out the Welsh Government's ambitions to end homelessness in Wales by 2030. The Housing Support Grant. This grant provides funding to local authorities to help people who are at risk of homelessness, and to support people who are already homeless into sustainable accommodation. The Supporting People Program. This program provides funding to support services for people with complex needs, including people who are homeless. Homelessness in Northern Ireland. Homelessness is a complex issue with no easy solutions, but it is one that must be addressed. In Northern Ireland, the number of people experiencing homelessness has been rising in recent years. In the first 6 months of 2022, there were 9,133 households accepted as homeless, an increase of 7.3% on the previous 6 months. One of the main reasons why people become homeless in Ireland is because they cannot afford to rent or buy a home. The government needs to invest in building more affordable housing, particularly for people on low incomes. Homelessness in Northeast England. The Northwest ranked second worst with 29% of homeless households in temporary housing and 19% of homes considered unfit. There are currently an estimated 4,250 homeless people in the northeast of England, including 360 children. This figure has increased significantly in recent years, and the northeast now has the highest proportion of homeless households in the UK. Who is homeless? However, certain groups of people are more likely to experience homelessness than others. In the UK, Black people are overrepresented in the homeless population, with 11% of homeless people being black, even though black people make up only 3% of the population. Other ethnic minority groups are also more likely to experience homelessness than white people. For example, 9% of homeless people are Asian, and 4% are from a mixed ethnic background. This means that people from ethnic minority groups are 3 times more likely to experience homelessness than white people. Why young people experience homelessness in the UK? Homelessness is a complex issue with a variety of causes, and young people are particularly at risk. In the UK, around 25,000 young people are homeless at any one time. There are a number of factors that can contribute to youth homelessness, including poverty. Financial hardship is one of the key causes of youth homelessness in the UK. Families struggling to make ends meet may be unable to afford to house their children, or young people may be forced to leave home if they cannot afford to contribute to household costs. Family breakdown. Family conflict and relationship breakdown are also common causes of youth homelessness. Young people may be asked to leave home by their parents or carers, or they may choose to leave because they feel unsafe or unsupported. Mental health problems. Mental health problems such as depression and anxiety can also lead to homelessness. Young people with mental health problems may find it difficult to maintain relationships and employment, and they may be more likely to experience discrimination and stigma. Substance abuse. Substance abuse can also lead to homelessness, both directly and indirectly. Young people who abuse drugs or alcohol may be asked to leave home by their families or carers, or they may find themselves unable to afford housing due to the cost of their addiction. Lack of affordable housing. The UK is facing a shortage of affordable housing, which is making it increasingly difficult for young people to find a place to live. Rents are rising sharply, and many young people are unable to afford to buy a home. Homelessness can have a devastating impact on young people's lives. It can lead to physical and mental health problems, substance abuse, and crime. Homeless young people are also more likely to be victims of violence and exploitation. The UK government has a number of policies in place to support homeless young people, but there is still much more that needs to be done to address the root causes of youth homelessness. In recent months, high-profile measures have been approved targeting homelessness in many western US cities and across entire states. Federal data shows 582,462 people were experiencing homelessness on a single night in January 2022. Experts warn more people will enter homelessness as housing costs increase, as has been the case for decades in cities such as New York and in much of California. If visible, unsheltered homelessness continues to grow, city leaders will have an easier time passing measures advocates say criminalize basic needs such as sleep and sheltering oneself, Eric Tars, legal director for the National Homelessness Law Center, told